Greetings, kindred spirits. And I can't even believe I'm a little bit late with this. I was so well organised last week, but this week, wow. I mean, it's Friday. No, it's not. It's Saturday. See, I don't even know what day it is. The energies have been rather chaotic over the last week or two, and the energies have been pretty high. You know, the energies coming in are still really super sensitive and bringing to the surface some very frustrating and highly emotional feelings. And all I can say is what a start to the new year we've had. The good thing is that we are finally getting clarity with certain situations, and things are not so vague or confusing as they were throughout 2019. 2020 was always going to be about us stepping into our own individual self-power. And many of us have taken up the challenge of pushing past limitations and boundaries. The only thing we need to ask ourselves in this instance is, are we being considerate and respectful to those that are not quite there yet? Are we just thinking too much about our own needs and desires? In some cases, it's likely that there was no other option than for some to walk away from certain restrictions and obligations because of the amount of pressure that was being put on their health and well-being. You know, health has been quite a theme since December when the energies become unbearably intense, leaving many of us feeling unfocused and drained. The agitation of the energies have stirred up quite a lot of drama and revelations. But as is always the case, some things can get blown out of proportion either theoretically or literally. It definitely hasn't been smooth sailing. The new moon begins in Aquarius in the true lifetime sky on the 23rd of February 2020 at 15:32 in the GMT time zone, at 10:32 in the EDT time zone, and on the 24th of February at 2:32 in the AEDT time zone. As the new moon begins, we will have 2 grand T-squares. So the first is an opposition between the nodes Mars and the goddess Pallas, and all are in square to Chiron the wounded healer and the black moon Lilith, who are both currently transiting the sign of Pisces. Chiron in conjunction to the black moon Lilith in Pisces is a very deep and emotional energy where all sorts of wounds and injustices come to the surface. So as they are in the firing line of a T-square, it is still a case of being pushed outside of our comfort zones, where we are gaining more and more clarity on our current situations and what has led us to this point. You know, wherever that point may be for us as individuals or even globally. The second T-square is between Venus in opposition to the goddess Juno of marriage and commitment, and both are in square to Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto, who are transiting Sagittarius in true lifetime sky. So in all, this really is about the give and take in our relationships, where maybe a lack of loyalty or commitment issues come to the surface. And apart from revealing manipulative behaviour, it could also be for some that they are recognising just how blindsided they have been regarding certain people or situations that they once felt secure with. Waking up and smelling the coffee isn't always a pleasant experience. Although I like to wake up and smell coffee, you know. I should really say, you know, when the rose-tinted glasses come off, because I think it's more that case. So, you know, a lot of emotional disturbances are likely under the current climate, especially when it comes to intimate relationships, but also global relationships. The one thing about 2020 is that no one is really going to get away with manipulative behaviour. The energies coming in are very intelligent, intuitive and crystal clear. It's just that emotionally it could be a lot to deal with when it comes to acceptance. Accepting what it is one thing, but accepting our part in it is quite another. And the Black Moon Lilith in Pisces conjuncting Chiron does open our eyes to our trust issues. So for some it could be a painful time in realising how much we have put our trust, love and respect into the wrong person or into the wrong people. In this case it can create a very self-defensive attitude, or for others it could be that although they have come to certain realisations, they are still afraid to confront the issue and take action due to a lack of self-empowerment. There is so much clarity and awareness coming in with this new moon in Aquarius regarding our past and present situations. Recognising the cycles and patterns of either our or others' motives, actions and responses is not always an easy pill to swallow. The good thing is that the new moon isn't directly involved in these T-squares. And in itself, this new moon is creating quite harmonious aspects towards Mars, Uranus and the nodes, and the Goddess Palace. So in this respect, we are being given the courage, strength and clarity to bring justice into our lives and to make it work for us if we can rise above the discomfort. Because the T-squares create a lot of discomfort. But emotionally, if we're at that point where we can raise our vibration and rise above it, then we will fare pretty well. As I said before, we will keep going through these waves of growth spurts for the next few years, but it will get easier. The more we align ourselves with self-truth, is the more we can see others or situations as they truly are without judgment. The more we raise our vibration and claim our self-power, is the more we align with our own self-trust. Truth is just a perception, and it is what is true to us as individuals is what counts, as long as we are being authentic and realistic in our assessment. But anyway, watch out for manipulative behaviour and be aware. And not for everyone, but for some, be aware that the grass is not always greener on the other side. Or maybe that's a realisation that some are coming to at the moment. So Mercury retrograde will come into an exact conjunction with the Sun at 9 degrees on the 25th of February. This will be a great day to wrap up old cycles and look to the future, as the Sun highlights what needs to be completed or left behind. It will be easy to look at things more objectively and openly, although our heads may be a little bit all over the place with different insights and reveals. Energetically, there may be a lot of restlessness, but emotionally, the willpower to break free from restriction or burdens will be very strong, as long as we are comfortable enough to ride the winds of change. As the twists and turns continue, again, we can fare pretty well. Patience is still needed, as well as balance and consideration. And for some, it could be a final release of old emotional wounds. And for others, it could be coming to terms with the loss of loved ones. Venus moves into Aries on the 4th of March and conjuncts Uranus. Well, she will be coming into a conjunction with Uranus So passions will be running high with this aspect, but it isn't a stable connection, and it's unlikely that the attractions will be long lasting. So any attractions that occur out of the blue will more than likely be fleeting and momentous. Issues could also arise around infidelity, or rebounds can occur after relationship breakups. So beware of rushing into romantic liaisons, because the energies are not stable enough to properly analyse the motive and intentions behind them. Vesta, the goddess of the sacred fire, moves into Taurus on the same day. So the best way to work with the energies coming in is for us to empower ourselves without risking another's well-being. And again, this is another opportunity to recognise behaviour patterns that are based on past emotional wounds. But again, great opportunities are being presented to us to express ourselves creatively. When it comes to our craft, we would be wise to keep things light-hearted at this time. The heart chakra is under a lot of pressure when it comes to change and growth, not just individually but globally too. If we have been realistic with our dreams and ideals, then we could be on a roll. But if we have been building them on unrealistic fantasies or dreams, then we are likely to be disappointed or disheartened under these energies. So keep the faith. Peace and much love.